Hey everyone. Yeah, I'd kind of let you know first of all that if you are on Twitch TV or twitch.tv, that I do have an account there. It is BW Roses underscore or underline in 98. I'll provide the link down below. So I am there. Just to let you guys know if you ever want to look me up and everything. I don't have no information yet. But I have already done one live broadcast. I've done one live broadcast already through PS4 with my WWE 2K15. So you never know when it might happen. Just continuously check. It'll probably be done mostly in the evening. I might let you guys know if I'm going to do one during the day so you guys can check it out. But it'll probably mostly during the evening. Just check it out. See if the channel will pop up every now and then if you're interested. Okay, with that said, let's talk about something that I just looked at, and I was going to talk about something else, and I'm going to talk about that in a moment on in another video before I go to work tonight. But let's talk about something that really, really, you know, is something that if you're going to introduce a franchise, especially a franchise for preschoolers, I got some advice. If you're going to introduce a new franchise, mainly aimed at kids or preschoolers or whatever you want to call it, my advice, and I'm not a teacher, I'm not no child psychologist or anything, but just my advice as an adult, as an uncle, don't ever, and I mean ever, try introducing something of a preschool franchise to preschoolers through the theaters, or at least trying to reintroduce them or reestablish them through theaters. Because you know why? It doesn't always work. You gotta usually wait for a character to be established, settled in, and embraced. Then even if you do release a movie, it'll hopefully do alright. I'll give you an example. When one of the most despised characters, as I look at it, despised characters in preschool history was created, even though he's embraced still somehow by young preschoolers. But to someone like me, especially in high school and even to this day, one of the most despised characters ever, Barney. When he was created, here's a character that not even a few years in was already being panned, mocked, and made fun of by just about anybody around. Heck, Animaniacs took a shot at him. But the point is, though, he still had enough of a following, but with preschoolers and young kids, kindergarten mostly, and even before preschool and kindergarten, he still had enough of a following that PBS and whoever the theatrical distributor was decided he was worthy enough of getting in a movie. And guess what? That's what he got. He got Great Adventure, and apparently it was a mixed reaction. Yeah, critics didn't like it, but there were some critics that are saying, hey, it's good enough to at least keep the kids sitting down quietly in the theaters, paying attention to the movie. So yeah. Same with Elmo. I think Elmo got one or two movies. And it was the same kind of reaction. It was mixed. Some understood that kids loved the appeal of Elmo. They watched him. And some just felt it wasn't really necessary to be on the big screen. It could have been done better as a direct-to-video film. Basically the same with Barney, but hey, that's just from my opinion of what I've heard and read throughout the years. But then you get to something like My Bedbugs, and mainly the characters of the Oogly Loves, which is loosely inspired, whose movie is loosely inspired by My Bedbugs. And I'll tell you this. A couple of years ago, when me and my family were walking through the theaters, and we saw the advertisements for this movie, I kind of teased my young nephews at times, saying, "Hey, this would be a good movie for you to watch." Because, you know, of course, at the time, my 8-year-old nephew was, my 7-year-old nephew was at an age where he might enjoy it, and you know, my great nephew was at an age that he might enjoy it, and heck, even my 11-year-old nephew was at an age to where, yeah, he might be out of it, but he still might enjoy it, just to probably get a laugh and want to poon it if he wanted to. But I knew the moment I saw that advertisement, something told me that this is going to be a bad thing. This is going to be a bad idea for theaters. This is going to be a bad movie. And boy, was I right. And if you want further confirmation of that, take a look at what people had to say about it. Every critic known panned it. Every reviewer panned it. Every article, newspaper, entertainment magazine, whatever, online, physically, pooned this movie. They panned the heck out of this movie. And the reason this movie was even created in the style that it was created was because the writer of the film wanted to create an interactive experience. Why? Because he was inspired by, of all things, a Madea film. Madea Goes to Jail. He was inspired by that because people were shouting out advice in the theaters to the characters on screen. Well, here's a little bit of a newsflash for that writer. There is a difference, and hopefully he knows this by now, there is a difference between shouting advice to a Madea film and being interactive with that. And there's a difference between trying to be interactive and shouting things to a film where you're trying to reestablish or reintroduce or even introduce and establish a new preschool franchise. There's a big difference, and guess what? The difference between Madea and the UV Loves? Massive difference. People rather be shouting at that and helping with advice there, because guess what? That movie has a plot. That movie makes sense. The movie's funny. Oogie Loves is basically a what the fuck were we watching? What the fuck was this guy thinking kind of deal. I mean, if you want to establish or reestablish these characters, you want to reestablish them, you want to reintroduce them, that's fine. But do it through television. Do it through books. Do it through little preschool toys. Don't say, hey, I'm going to take a chance and put these guys on the big screen. I mean, literally, the way this movie starts, the way this movie is presented and starts out, and if you don't believe me, watch what AniMat has to say about it. AniMat. You know, Matt Taven of AniMat, and its reviews, AniMat's reviews, an Electric Dragon on YouTube. Check out what he has to say. You can already tell he's got the reaction of, what the heck am I watching? I'm sure sooner or later Doug Walker's gonna do a Nostalgia Critic review on it, and he's gonna pan it even worse. The thing is, the way this movie is presented is basically something you would watch on PBS or TBN. And nothing against some of the things they do for TBN, alright? But some of the shows are aimed at preschoolers, and basically it's the same vein as what's on PBS. Basically, that's what this was. What this could have easily been, to avoid it being panned the way the critics were panning it, and disowning it, and pooning it, was it was basically a direct-to-DVD video. I mean, heck, this movie was so bad and described as one of the worst films of all time. One of the worst films of all time. That no other retailer wanted to touch it. You know what retailer ended up touching that damn film and releasing it on DVD? My job. Yeah, my store, my company ended up doing it. Because why? Nobody else wanted it. Because they knew the reputation that film had. I mean, the idea was stupid. Straight out, flat out, honestly, stupid. You don't introduce or reintroduce a preschool franchise or try to reestablish or establish one by putting it on the big screen in the first place. No. You do it the right way. You do it the correct way. You start with books, toys, maybe a television show, and that's it. And if you want to do a movie, guess what? The easiest and more safer way to do it is a direct-to-video film. That's what you do. You don't do it with the theaters, especially when you have people saying that half the audience, mostly the kids that it's supposed to interact with and talk with, when most of those kids just don't know what the heck, are not paying attention, don't know what the heck's going on, and one of the main ages, a toddler, is asleep in his parents' lap. It doesn't work that way, folks. What you need to do is what you need to do if you're going to do that, like I said, the safest, easiest way is direct to DVD. Or if not, just do it the correct way. Slowly build it back up by books, preschool interactive toys, and then maybe a DVD movie. Not a freaking theatrical movie. Because look what happened. You got pooned. You got owned. You got... I can't even say any more about it. I mean, just the way it's presented. Just imagine you sitting in the theaters with your kids, and all of a sudden it comes up saying this person, with the person that's made it presenting it. You're basically looking at something going like, wait a minute, this looks like it belongs on DVD. Just the way it presents, just the way it starts out. It doesn't make it, it shouldn't be that way, folks. Safest, easiest way if you want to do a movie is direct to DVD. That is it. Not this way. Because guess what? Now you gotta live. Now the people behind this movie have to live with the fact. The people associated with this movie, the people that starred in this movie, have to associate with the fact that they were all part of the worst movie ever. Probably the worst movie ever, if not the worst movie. It's kind of like, it's strange in comparison. It's kind of like how people look at that one Star Trek Voyager episode, where at the end, the captain and one of the other main characters got turned into freaking salamanders and had kids. That's how bad this movie was and is. So, that's just my take on it, but honestly, my advice to anybody else that wants to reestablish a preschool franchise or reintroduce one or introduce a new preschool franchise and is trying to establish it, my advice, do it the right way, do books, do interactive preschool toys, start building your way up to potentially doing a movie, but do a movie that's mostly direct to DVD, because after this, I don't think you want to take a chance. So that's all I got to say on it. Talk to you later.